guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. It's your girl Alana here. So I want to welcome you back. For those of you who have already been joining me, welcome back. Thank you to the new subscribers that I've recently gained. That means a lot, and I hope that what I have to offer on my channel is beneficial to you, as it is beneficial to me, finding this way of combining tarot and therapy, you know, for the sense of healing, introspection, and, you know, overall growth and self-development. So welcome back to another Cup of Love pick your pile of 3 reading that I've been mindful messages that I've been doing for the month of March, and hope to continue beyond that in some form or fashion. So yeah, so I would say let's dive right into it, but I wanted to let you know that I have changed up my decks, and for this reading, or readings I should say, I have on the go the Angels and Ancestors deck by Kyle Gray, published by Hay House. This is a deck that I've had in my collection for a bit. I haven't used it in a while, so we're gonna give it a go today. And yeah, of course I recently picked up the mini, and I think having the mini the mini is so cute. Well, okay, I can go down a whole rabbit hole about, you know, the urge of OCD to have the matching mini to the original deck, and then okay, yes, hi, this is my channel. My name is Alana, and I am a nerd, self-proclaimed nerd, and I love it. Anyhow, yeah. So anyways, so Kyle Gray, I still have on the go the Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle, also published by Hay House, by Abiola Abrams. However, that deck is not being used in this today. And another beautiful deck that I recently have pulled out again, and that is being used for this reading, is the Embody Oracle deck by Himalaya. Artist is Alexis Cohen, and this is a deck that I've had in my collection for a while. I've met and been involved in a online sort of retreat previously. I would say more so on the start of my tarot journey, towards somewhere along the beginnings, I should say. And Himalaya is a wonderful person, and she hosts many retreats, and of course the deck is called Embody, and of course the idea, me finding this deck and how in alignment it was to what I was looking to develop for myself, but also just in regards to sort of what I was starting to learn more about myself, and the idea of embodying love, and love being the truth and core essence of self and all selves. So yeah, and just the way that Himalaya sort of presents everything, it's in such a beautiful, graceful, sort of feminine energy, embracing and to the word, showcasing the importance of nurturing and understanding, of course, using love and embodying that and making that a part of your whole being. So I absolutely love this. Here is Himalaya, if you've never seen her before. I do follow her on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'll have the links to all of her work in the description box. And this is the artist Alexis Cohen. So yeah, and this book is really chunky, and there's a lot of juicy stuff. So we'll dive into that as we go along here. Also still working with the golden mantras. That's also in this. Still the Gentle Heart Tarot by Vanessa Samoya. And a new thing featuring that was actually very inspiring to bring out, and most recently, not even just for, I feel like, you know, as we are moving into, you know, the spring equinox, and the you know, the brighter days of the year, but also because, well, so there's a little bit of a sentimental sort of connection, and what it is Saint Croix. So my family, I have family that live in St. Croix, but also recently a fabulous friend that I've met on YouTube, and more recently has become a very fast favorite person, and of course that is I'm talking about Alexis, or Lexi, Milner, and so she has a YouTube channel that, you know, she's recently started, and has been working so hard and posts daily, and just her spirit, and you know, the insight and the things that come to her to just discuss on a regular day on her channel. It's just everyday stuff, and it's so warm and welcoming and soothing, I find, in the way that she presents things. And so and so excited, to have her, a part of my world, as she is, right now. And anyway, so when I found out that her background is also St. Croix, that was something that really lit me up. And the piggies just were over the moon, because I'm like, this is my long lost family. So, which is not really, not necessarily family, but in the sense of, the spiritual family, that soul, connection, if you will. And so, yeah, so I want to, so the deck that I'm talking about is, of course, none other than Tarot de St. Croix. I've had this deck for a while. I've used it before. I haven't used it in a while. But it was like, you know what? I need to bring this out. It was calling. So, and this is by Lisa de St. Croix. And this is an indie deck. I believe this is the second edition. Well, I don't know if you really call it that, as it's more so a borderless edition, because I do remember that when I first saw this this deck, or came across this deck here on YouTube, it was the older version, which is bigger and had like a giant orange border around it. And I never really liked it so much in that state. But the way that this deck, and of course, let me know in the comments down below. I'll probably do a flip through, a musical flip through of this, into a short on my channel later on, and maybe even do a video where we dive in further to it, see how things go. But this just reminds me of my family, and of course, all that St. Croix sparks for me, if you will. So that so I'm really happy to be using this deck right now, and also it being in the in a deck that's being used in this pick 3 pile reading video. So so I just wanted to show you guys that, and then of course, one last thing, still using, or a couple of things, still using the Outcast playing cards by Theory 11, and that's in this reading today, and also grabbing from one of my longtime favorite decks, since I've started my divination journey, and that's the Under the Roses Lenormand. And of course, I haven't really studied to say and actually reading Lenormand the way, in the traditional sense. I still tend to use it in more so oracle form, if you will. So so using that as well today. So with all that being said, let's get into it. And of course, you're welcome to listen to the entire video with all 3 piles, and you can put them together. You can separate them, take what messages resonate for you. And of course, leave the rest for someone else who needs to hear it. So of course, take the time to pick your pile number 1, which has the pendulum on it, pile number 2, which has the dream catcher keychain on it, that I did get in a subscription box. I think it was, trying to remember which one. Once I remember, I'll put it up in editing. I can't remember if it was a 9 of Earth or another one. But anyways, I will verify that. And of course, we have our mini rose quartz crystal here. So of course, you know, feel free to choose or listen to all, like I said. Yeah, so we'll start with pile number 1, and that's the one with the pendulum on it. So let me just move this up, make room here. Okay, so for pile number 1, we have first the first card, or top card, from Kyle Gray, the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. We have Traveler. Move in a new direction. So I want to read from this guidebook here. Traveler, move in a new direction. So, you know, right off the bat, you know, if there is a pathway that, you know, that maybe you've been on, you know, in your life, whether that be with a particular person, whether that be your career, whether that just be a way of coping, in the way that you've been coping up until now, and if that's hasn't been what has been satisfying you or bringing you to the point that you feel satisfied, and no longer needing to engage in it. And I'm thinking of things like addiction and, you know, ways of coping, but also, you know, what doesn't serve you, you know, and being willing to explore a different path. So anyways, so let's just read this one. Traveler, move in a new direction. Okay. Oops. Nope. All right. Traveler, move in a new direction. Message: welcome any opportunities to travel, either to the outer world or to your inner worlds. About: the Traveler card represents the gypsy spirit within. The opportunity to move in a new direction is coming your way, and ancestral wisdom is encouraging you to welcome it with open arms. Going on a trip is an exciting process because not only do you learn about the world, you also learn about yourself. This card often comes up when you have a chance to go through a process of awakening and understand even more about the amazing qualities you have to share with the world. Often such journeys can be lonely, but this in itself can teach you that you are never really alone, and your angels and ancestors are there for you. Extended message: the road you are on may be the road less traveled, but this journey is going to be highly beneficial for your emotional and spiritual growth. If it isn't about covering outer distance, it's about covering distance within, and you will be evolving every single moment of it. Remember to keep things simple and to lighten your load, because that will make your journey more enjoyable. you are also being encouraged to see how far you've come and how you've really grown as a person, because this recognition will support you in going even further. And there's a good chance that along the way you'll make new friends who will become companions for a lifetime. And I love that. And I just wanted to note the numerology. So Traveler, that is starts on page 82, goes to 83. And why I feel like why that strikes me as significant, because I'm born in 82. So any of you born in 82, but anyways, yeah. So, or even 83, that is, of course. But yes. So that's that one. Next, up we have, again, still for pile 1, 23, accountability. So, you know, this to me really speaks to and sort of fits with that previous message. Even the extended message in the guidebook that I read, I just finished reading from Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. But the idea of, and I said this before, even taking stock of the things that don't serve us, that, you know, on our current journeys that may be hindering us from our truest potential. And, you know, and also, you know, when doing the introspection, taking the time to really dive in and taking accountability for the things that we've been engaging in that don't serve our highest and greatest good. That also has been equally unbeneficial to those around us, you know, those closest to us. So yeah, so anyway, so that number 23, I do want to read this one as well. Okay, so let's see, 23. Okay, so this comes from section Pillar 3 in Himalaya's guidebook for this deck, Spiritual Integrity. Okay. 23, accountability. You are the creator of your life. Sacred sister or brother, you are the creator of your life. If it seems that the world or that someone has caused a circumstance that you feel hurt by, you can free yourself by realizing the part that you may have played in co-creating a challenging dynamic. Remember, your wounds are not your fault, yet healing is your responsibility. You get to choose between being the creator of your reality or staying a victim. Or, as I've said before in previous videos, a perpetrator. Because being the perpetrator or the victim is as equally, you know, on the other ends of the spectrum, damaging to self and others. So, yes. Okay. To take the path to freedom, breathe deep into your center and answer these questions. What is your part in this situation? Why have you created or caused it? What are you receiving from it? Let go of blame and taking responsibility for your part in this event, situation, or person will empower you to more consciously create your present and future. Embody invitation, pillow punching session. Focus, clear anger and frustration. Consider that there are emotions that are hiding, buried, and stuck in your body. Get ready to go big and have a substantial release. If you are at home or in a private place, start by walking around your space, stomping your feet with hands in fists, bringing up any frustration and anger to the surface. You are now free to release. Start growling and blowing air out. Make the sounds, ha, as you walk around. Now stop near your pillows, and as you keep the growling going, take in a deep breath, more, and grab your pillow. Scream into it from your belly, and you can punch the pillows as you scream into them simultaneously. If this feels good, do it another time. If it feels awkward, do it another 3 times and really go for it. You will feel liberated and lighter. If you are in a public space, then practice a tense and release exercise. Take a deep breath in as big as you can, more than you think. Tense every muscle in your body and face. Make fists in with your hands and then release the breath while making a big sighing sound. Welcome to the freed up version of you. Okay, so that's pretty extensive in this a guidebook, and I actually love that. Really gives the opportunity for journaling, as well as an actual activity to invoke action. So, all right. So next we have an affirmation. God and the universe hear my prayers. 33. So definitely check out the angel number message for 33. You can of course Google that, and I probably will put that up in editing for you, but yes. Next we have 1, the magician. So that really speaks again to the idea of taking accountability. You are in control of your life and taking on that responsibility for self, and what you create for yourself, but also what you put out in the world for others. And as you can see, we have this person who looks sort of moving in this sort of dance, like, because I did ballet and jazz and all of that, in growing up. So, I could recognize this pose. But yeah, taking that attitude of dancing through life, having each step made with grace and beauty and the flow and movement that dance allows. Yeah. Then we have, and this is from Tarot de St. Croix, we have the Ace of Cups. So, to me, again, going back to the accountability card, and even the message that I read from the Embody guidebook, the Embody Oracle guidebook, that's what I was trying to say. That idea of letting go, and, when we release, we welcome in, new opportunities for growth, on all aspects. But in this case, we're talking about, emotional satisfaction and opportunity. But also with the crashing waves here, and the moon, which I see is very highlighted. So to me, and of course in March now, I believe on the 29th is the is it the solar eclipse? Hold on, I would need to double check. I will double check and put that up in editing. But the solar eclipse, and then of course with, we just had a full moon in Virgo. So of course, the new moon that's, going to be coming out, in which sign? Taurus? I think so. Again, I will double check all that. But yes. So, so really taking on and that initiative for leadership of self, and others, really, and empowering others to, to also do that introspection and that healing, for evolvement of self, and essentially, to draw a new path for all of us that is illuminating and new and exciting than what we've had to endure and experience, for the last several years, and maybe even, further on, diving into the idea of healing our ancestral backgrounds, our generational traumas, all of which has set us off course to our truest potential. We have the Five of Cups, Five is Spades, Five of Swords. So winning at all costs, and taking stock of that. What have we robbed ourselves or others from, based on our limited ways of thinking, the limited ways in which of programming that has been a part of our journey to date, that is not necessarily of our own making, but that was passed on to us, that we need to eliminate. And of course we have card 10 from, and speaking of elimination, card 10 being the sickle, and the understanding of cutting out what doesn't serve us, what doesn't serve our truest and highest potential. So that is what I have for you in pile 1. And we'll move on to pile 2, which is from the one that has the dream catcher here. So let's do pile 2. Okay. So from Kyle Gray, the Angels and Ancestors Oracle, we have Shapeshifter, transform and unveil your gifts. So again, I feel like that just sort of follows what was said in pile number 1 about, you know, the traveler and finding a new path and stuff like that. In finding a new path, the path that maybe you're meant to be on in this lifetime, once we've done that introspection, we're cutting out what doesn't serve us. It frees us up. You know, even with the spring equinox, the idea of spring cleaning, right? And getting rid of all that doesn't serve us. So, you know, whether that be physically decluttering, you know, or detoxing our bodies, or even our minds, right? And our hearts. So in all aspects of self, right? And in the process, allowing the opportunity to dive deeper in understanding self. What are our gifts that we've been given to share with others in this lifetime for the development and healing of all. So, and you know, and of course, you know, this being also attached to you know, getting in tune with your spirit guides, your animal guides, you know, of course, you know, more speaking on, you know, the shamanistic level of being in tune with the elements of nature that is connected to you and your ancestry. Remembering that the gifts that we also have access to are gifts that are embedded into our family line as well. So this to me, you know, really, when I think about this card and reflect on it, it brings me back to the idea of when we, I still have never done this, and I'm still very skeptical where this is concerned, but I know that there are people who have, and I feel that there are major benefits to it, but of course, because of the way our world works, and you know, there are deceit everywhere, it can really stump us and make us afraid to do certain things. And what I mean is the idea of diving into ancestry, or, you know, getting our DNA tested to know, you know, or putting together a family tree, right? All of those things to me are what help to unveil those gifts. What are the gifts that are etched in your family DNA that you can utilize in this lifetime for your highest and greatest good, and essentially all that you put out into the world. So I'm not going to read this one, but let's see. Change the cycle. 11. And how better to be able to do that when we do that deep dive into our family's history. We can't change something that we aren't aware of. So that's why it is important to do the shadow work and the introspection and that deep dive to uncover, our generational woundings. So let me read this one. Embody. Okay. And I open right to the page. So 11, change the cycle. 11, change the cycle. You are not your patterns. Dear one, does it ever feel like you are in a fishbowl where everyone is looking wide-eyed at you in judgment? Well, even though life and the people in it have been showing you where you might have shadow behaviors in the areas of relationships, career, finances, health, and self-esteem, it's time to approach yourself with a heaping dose of self-compassion. Lovely, it's not your fault if you have patterns that haven't been serving you. You were simply a product of your environment. You may be feeling uncomfortable and scared lately because you have chosen to courageously move forward into deeper intimacy and connection with your tribe and with life. You are ready for people to know all of you. You are not your wounds or your fears. You are a creative, radiant light with wisdom and gifts to share in this world. When you get shaken up, breathe, soften, trust. Your friends and community love you for the real you. They know you are not your limiting behaviors. You have been your own strongest critic at times, and it's time to let that habit go now. For once and for all, you are evolving like a butterfly stretching its resplendent wings widely after a long cold winter inside its cocoon, and you are magnificent to behold. Embody invitation, sound, and shake. Focus. Transform heavy energies into light, clarity. Patterns can be cleared in numerous ways, including through sound, movement, and emotional release, which is especially good to clear out heavy energies such as anger or frustration quickly and effectively. It's time to move beyond what's distracting, overwhelming, or numbing. This might feel awkward to start, but trust us, it's an amazingly powerful practice. Either standing or seated, bring your hands in front of your torso, just below your heart, and begin shaking them out wildly, groaning and sighing and vocally emoting your frustration through any sounds that express the intensity of the feeling that is arising in you. Really go into your heart and feel the difficult feeling fully. Then shake it out through your hands and your vocal expression. Continue for a few minutes or a little longer if that feels best for you. To complete this exercise, take several long, slow, calming breaths. Bring your hands to your heart, sending your heart gratitude for its courage and willingness to feel what needs to be felt for your transformation, healing, and self-awareness. All right. I absolutely love that. And I also want to say that if when you are showing up as your authentic self and you feel that people aren't accepting you for who you are and are insisting on changing you in some form or fashion, or telling you that what you're doing isn't good enough, if they're not supporting you, then they're not your people, as far as I see it. And if your own limiting beliefs are keeping you from actually accepting the authenticity of another, then there's something that you need to take a look at and understand about yourself as to why. Especially if the person that you are connecting with is someone who matters to you. So that's something else to bear in mind and to think of. Maybe your beliefs are very limiting and not allowing for you to fully support another in the way that they deserve to be supported. So that is something else I would say to note. So next, our affirmation for pile number 2: my luck won't run out because my blessings are earned and destined for me. And that is number 14. Okay. And then we have 9 of crystals. So to me, this sort of speaks to if you feel like you are somehow being blocked from your truest desire, what your heart is being called to. Again, with the idea of this person having their arm in a sling really speaks to me to even just what I was just saying about the idea of what wounding that has led you into these negative patterns and cycles of karma, and that's blocking you from receiving your blessings. That's blocking you from fully being supported or being able to give support and build that strong, soulful foundation with others. Next, we have the Page of Wands. So that idea of once we've done that healing work, and while we're doing the healing work, sometimes it's not even a matter of it, because it can happen simultaneously, right? We can be discovering ourselves and healing at the same time, right? We can be discovering, aspects of authenticity that speaks to our soul that maybe we've been disconnected from for such a long time because of our environments, because of the things that we've negatively become attached to as a way of coping with whatever was being thrown at us at that time. So, and to me, this really sort of screams out, for me, well, really any trauma, but in this case, religious trauma. To me, this really speaks to religious trauma, and how that has really limited certain people, or the masses in general. I talk about the idea of the fall of Pharaoh being a concept that is not only etched in history as a historical event, but also has made its way into becoming a sort of theory, archetypal theory, if you will. Just thinking about how history repeats itself, right? And and I talk about, or I've spoken about previously in several videos before this, the Psalm 90 to 106. And yes, that's, biblically speaking, and I'm not really getting into, to debating the accuracy and stuff like that, in regards to the Bible right now. But that idea of religious trauma and how that takes away from the fully understanding of the spiritual teachings, integrity, upholding law and justice. There has been too many people who, and I actually saw a quote, was it a quote? No, it wasn't a quote. It was a TikTok video. Hold on, I'm just trying to remember it right now. Because all of a sudden now there's several different examples that keep flooding my mind right now, and I can't quite adhere to just one. Hold on. All of us, okay, that just left me. But the debate of okay, so there was another one, and I'll just use the other one because the other one is not coming back to me right now. It's like it went poof. That piggy just went zoom, bye bye. But there was somebody that was on and trying so hard to dispute, and there's many people like this that I've seen online, to okay, so I'm not sure where it cut off, but again, I was trying to explain people pushing out their propaganda and the idea of pushing their beliefs onto others, and how That's not what spirituality, that's not even how religion is supposed to operate. Now I remember where the piggy came back. So the other thing that I want to mention, the video, and I think it was actually an Instagram video that I saw, where there was a preacher and he was talking about the teachings and how one of the main teachings of, Jesus, and of course there's a whole debate on whether he actually existed and okay, well, we're not getting into that, but the teachings about love thy neighbor, and how the teachings of that was more important than the actual doctrine of behavior. So it was basically speaking to, the fact that the law is the law, that we all have the choice of, and this is in the sense of religion, right? What we choose to listen to, what speaks to us. But the most important message of it all is to love and respect thy neighbor. So why is it the law goes above love? Love is the highest vibration, but many people put this, have this expectation that how we behave, how we present ourselves is how we function is more important than respecting one another. Judgment isn't ours to hold against another. So yeah, okay. And then we have 6 of Cups. Giving and receiving emotionally, really healing that inner child, and in discovering and healing that inner child and aspects of self, we are now opening ourselves up to seeing and recognizing and understanding the inner child of others. We are all human, regardless of where we've come from, our upbringings, our traumas, our likes and our dislikes. At the end of it all, we are reflections of one another. And as such, be treating each other equally in that respect. 18, the dog. So here, this to me represents the idea of loyalty. Loyalty to self, loyalty and companionship to self and others. Breaking the generational cycles of how we've interacted with each other. Bringing back connectivity among the masses. Okay, so that's pile number 2. And of course, with last but not least, with the rose quartz here, we have pile number 3. So the first card here in that, we have Elder. Move beyond ancestral patterns. Exactly. seeing, recognizing those ancestral patterns of behavior that has really kept us stuck, that has lowered our vibrations, that we need to mend and heal for the greatest and highest good of all. Connecting with our ancestors to understand our truest gifts, and also those that hinder us from achieving our fullest potential. All of which can be discovered when we dive into shadow work and understanding our past generation, not only our past in this incarnation, but also that, you know, from our family history and such. We have 37, own your power. So let me read from this one here. 37, own your power. Okay. Stand in your truth. Sacred daughter or son. This is a very feminine deck. Sacred daughter, owning your power means you stand in your purpose and mission even when you feel doubts or fear. You go for it anyway. That's your brilliance. You are courageous, and yes, you are strong enough to be a leader. Own your power by using your voice, speaking your deep truth even when it feels risky. You are one of the feminine leaders stepping up to lead others at this time. You are designing a new definition of power by being a woman rising from the ashes of oppression. Up until now, your power has been muted. You have believed that emotions or being vulnerable were weak, and it's time to know that these aspects are actually part of your power. While emotions can be derailing, if you allow yourself to be taken over, when you blame yourself or others or lash out, they can also be incredible too. You can harness the power of your emotions by taking self-responsibility and allowing them to inform you of what is most important to you. Your power is you being in your centered strength, committed actions, and sharing your light. Own your power and stand. Walk and sit in your ability to positively impact others. Embody invitation, confidence posture. Focus, activate your radiant power. Get out your yoga mat or a rug to play on. Grab a cushion and sit on your feet and knees if this is comfortable. You could also choose to sit on a chair. Bring your spine in an erect position with a slight tilt back of your pelvis. Take your arms and hands straight above your head with your fingers interlaced, breathing into your center between your diaphragm and heart area. A continuous pumping breath. Do 36 pumps, then sit and breathe deeply and slow for 6 breaths to complete. The other thing that comes to mind when I read that card in regards to owning your, I don't know how many of you are familiar or watch Grey's Anatomy, but there's a character in the show, Dr. Amelia Shepherd, and in it, as a neurosurgeon in the show, she's very bold and courageous, and very groundbreaking, and often will take on the almost impossible cases for brain surgery. But in that, part of her process to fully stepping into that power and building that confidence is this. What I think, and I think they reference it in the show as well, but as the superhero stance. So you're standing up nice and tall. You have your feet are shoulder length apart, and you are standing with your fists on your hips in this chest out, I'm a superhero type of way. And it's in doing that you embody that strength to deliver and be the leader and innovator that you need to be in that moment, or whenever you need to be. But often, of course, when you engage in that sort of power stance, you're doing it because you're getting ready to do something big that you need that confidence boost for. So yeah, affirmation, we have, I am financially abundant. Money flows to me with ease. And that is number 5. So yeah, by stepping into your truest power, by stepping into your truest potential, you have the ability to achieve anything that your heart's desire. And this, in this case, can also be in regards to career and financial abundance. Taking responsibility for the old ways of handling money. I know that's something that I definitely and have struggled with, and am still working through negative spending habits that have done a very disservice to me, and others closest to me. But also recognizing and understanding that a lot of that came as a way to cope with what I was dealing with at the time. So in understanding that, in recognizing that, forgiving myself for that, taking those steps to understand the patterns that trigger that is how you start the process for change and for betterment. But also leaving room for mistakes to happen, because you can't, any sort of habit that is formed over time. It's like, and I use this analogy of driving a car, going 100 miles per hour or kilometers per hour or whatever. I'm in Canada, so it's really kilometers, but I know for those in the States it's miles, but right? And then stomping on the brakes and expecting an immediate stop. Not gonna happen. And and thinking about when we so even the momentum of a riding a bike, what happens when we want to stop and immediately squeeze, if you're, riding that kind of bike, when you immediately squeeze the handlebar brakes, do you stop immediately, or does that force in slowing down propel you forward in a way that is very dangerous, of course, because anyone who's grown up riding a bike, that's a big no-no. You stop like that, you're stopping and maybe seeing your maker. Quite possibly it will land you in the hospital, because you will probably, most likely, depending on how fast you're going, you are going to flip that bike with you on it. And crash land. So, right? So needing to take that time to be loving, supportive, and caring in that process. And also understanding that Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is stopping a pattern of behavior that is something that has been moving in a particular direction for a very long time. It's not easy to stop that process. So being kind and understanding and supportive of yourself and others through that process. Okay. Next up, we have 5, the Hierophant. Okay, so next we have the 5, the Hierophant. And what comes to mind and speaks to me as I, continue layering this third pile reading here is that as we do that deep dive in introspection and listening and really getting to know and understanding our ancestral patterns and history, that's when we we become the expert, if you will, in how to and embody that the will for change. The word that comes to mind is being the karmic cycle breaker, to stand in your truth and power to break those negative generational patterns of existence that has held you and your family back from achieving their fullest potential. And in doing so and becoming that cycle breaker, you are now then changing the patterns for self and future generations to come. So in embracing and using that knowledge of self to your advantage. Next, we have the 5 of Cups. So yes, learning from what was lost, the patterns of behavior that we've adapted to, but also it is adapted to and learned from those that came before us. Instead of dwelling on the past, here we have, I don't know if you can see that, but in the 5 of Cups here, we have, so yes, there's the 3 cups all spilled, but in 2 of the cups that is being shown is not being currently acknowledged here by the person in the card, but we have what looks like crows or ravens, and to me that's that understanding of taking the knowledge from what occurred and applying it to ourselves, so that we then can heal and become conscious of the cups that still are upright here. So yeah, letting go of the emotional pains and triggers and trauma. We have the Eight of Swords, which translates to, well, the Eight of Spades translates into the Eight of Swords, is what I'm trying to say. And essentially all the patterns of behavior that keep us stuck, that the mental prison that has that was created, freeing ourselves from the mental prison that has been created by our ancestors. Being able to see where they may have misstepped and being able to correct Next, we have 23 mice. And so in this, in the, you know, the mice in the Lenormand represents that destruction. You know, rats eat things and nibble away at what's there. So food, knowledge, all that has tainted or poisoned our family line. So that's pile number 3. And yeah, so I hope that, you know, with all that being said, I hope that you enjoyed the messages that I was able to deliver to you guys today, and that came up, you know, through the cards. Again, you are more than welcome to, you know, whichever one speaks to you more, or you can even put it all together, because to me, they still all are interrelated to one another. But yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed this week's mindful messages for the month of March. You know, we've celebrated St. Patty's Day, so, you know, changing over some decks and sort of infusing a little bit of green. You know, that was something that was really cool with, you know, I haven't dived into Angels and Ancestors Oracle in a bit, so that was fun. And of course, yeah, the Tarot de St. Croix. So let me know if you want to see any of these decks further, maybe even doing a review, or, you know, or a deeper dive, flip through. You know, please comment down below if you made it this far in the video. Thank you so much for watching. You know, you're more than welcome to even just cut it up in bits and pieces, and And like I said, take what resonates for you, leave the rest that didn't, that is meant for maybe somebody else that needs to hear it. So thank you so much for joining me and being part of this what I hope to be a very healing and supportive community that I'm trying to build here on my channel. And for those of you who already have joined me, who I learned from, who support me and are like-minded, thank you so much for your kindness, your support, understanding. It is much appreciated. And I truly love you. As I always say, I am love and so are you. As I see myself as human, I know that you are too. And with all that being said, I hope that you will remember to take care of yourself and one another. And while you're at it, please don't forget about me too. If you're just joining me for the first time, thank you. And I hope that you will return and will like, share, and subscribe. And of course, share with others, the idea of healing. As I always say, I promote healing and will always lead with therapy. To me, this work cannot be done, shouldn't be done on your own. Not to say it isn't possible, but I feel like it's much harder. And there are things that when you are in it and are too close to it, you cannot see the bigger picture. So having a professional guide on this journey is always a benefit. And so I will always recommend that you seek, and the professional assistant needed in your healing journey. And of course, always feel free to reach out to me anytime. If, based on my knowledge and experience, whatever I can share with you that can help you, guide you in finding the right resources, I'm more than happy to do so. To me, is let's heal together, share, our gifts with each other. And even with that said, I hope that you'll join me again next time. And until I see you again, please always remember to check your privilege, mind your magic, and as always, live, listen, and learn. I love you. Bye.